Hello, good people. Welcome back to Brian's Academy, where learning is made easy. In today's session, I would like us to discuss Kpsea exam, that's 2025, grade 6, part of creative art and sport in this session. Then we'll have another session for social studies and Christian religious education. So you find that this part of creative art and sport, it has got 30 questions. Remember, the paper has 50 questions. So among the 50 questions, we have 30 questions, which is part of creative art and sport. And we have 20 questions being shared among the social studies and Christian religious education. So you find that creative art and sport carries a lot of marks on this question paper. So if learners will not perform good in this part of creative art and sport, then their scores will not be that good. But remember, on their result slip, the part of the creative art and sport, it's divided. We have the part of visual art, we have the part of sport, and we have the part of music. So the learners have to come up with a good technique on how to tackle questions in this part of creative art so that at the end they can come up with good scores. So let's see some of the questions that were brought on this question paper, that is last year in Kpsea. We will start with part one, the part of creative arts. So here, the first question was on color classification. And remember, color classification is one of the areas that is being taught from grade 4 to grade 6. As you continue to grade 9, it's being also taught there. And under the color classification, we talk about composition of colors, or categories of colors, where we have primary colors, we have secondary color, and we have tertiary color. That is from grade 6 downward to grade 4. In grade 4, we talk about primary colors. In grade 5, we talk about secondary colors. And in grade 6, we talk about tertiary colors. And we talk about primary colors. These are colors that you can't obtain them by mixing any color. They are just those colors that you can't get them by mixing any other color. But when you talk about secondary colors, these are colors that are obtained by mixing two primary colors in equal proportion. And when you talk about tertiary colors, we are mixing one primary color and one secondary color in equal proportion to get it. So when you talk about the question is, the following chart shows primary and secondary colors. So we have there red, orange, yellow, green. We have the part of X and we have the part of W. So the question is, name the colors in the parts labeled W and X. So here, the learners have to come up with a criteria on how they are going to get these colors. And we have primary colors on that chart and secondary colors. So here we find that we have red, orange. So red is a primary color, orange is a secondary color, yellow is a primary color, and green is a secondary color. So in X we are supposed to have a primary color, and in W we are supposed to have a secondary color. So when you mix red plus yellow, you get orange. Red plus yellow, you get orange. So which color are we going to mix? The two primary colors are we going to mix so that we can get green? So you find that for us to get green, we are going to mix blue plus yellow. So the part that is marked X is the part of blue color. And for us now, if X is blue and there we have red, so when we mix red plus blue, which color are we getting? We are getting purple or violet. So that means in W we have purple or violet. So the correct answer was part B, purple, and blue. Then question number 2, which of the following statement is not true about the Kenya national anthem? It promotes. So here we are talking about the values that we learn from or we get from the national anthem. So the values that national anthem give us, they are positive values and not negative values. So the response that we have been given, we have the positive values and negative values. So we are supposed to pick that value which is negative. So we have hard work, that is positive, patriotism positive, individualism, that is negative, and teamwork positive. When you talk about individualism, we are talking in a situation whereby a person wants everything to be on his side. He doesn't want to cooperate with others. He just wants to do things on his own. So that is individualism. So the correct answer was C, individualism. We have question 3. When playing a game, players aim at scoring. Which of the following game is correctly matched with the name of the score? So we have netball. So in netball, the score is called a goal. In netball, the score is called a goal. In volleyball, we talk about points. We talk about points, and at the end of the game, we talk about set. This team won 2 sets, and the other team had. Soccer, we talk about in soccer we talk about goal. Then in handball we talk about goal. So the correct answer was C, that is soccer. Question number 4. Which of the choices shows the correct step followed when carrying out crayon etching? Remember, crayon etching is one of the parts that is taught in grade 5 under visual art. So the correct step is that is D. We talk about color with crayons. So we apply crayons on the surface, then we apply black ink, and then we scratch to come up with the image or that we want to create. So that is crayon etching. Question 5. Which of the following is not a Kenyan indigenous wind instrument? So talk about wind instruments. Asili is a wind instrument from the coastal region. We have Chivoti is a wind instrument from the coast region, majorly the Mijikenda. We have Shiriri is a string instrument from the Abaluya community, and we have Muturiru, which is also a wind instrument. So the correct answer was C, Shiriri, which is a string instrument from the Luya community. Question 6. A netball coach trained players on the correct skills to apply when catching the ball. Which of the following skills did the coach emphasize? So when we talk about the catching skills, that is in grade 4 under the netball, we have the two-hand catch, we have the two-hand overhead catch. So here, the correct answer was C, where we have both fingers are supposed to spread out to enhance ball grip. Then you form a letter W when you are spreading your palm, a letter W. So the correct answer was C. Question 7. Alana collected dry grass, banana fiber, glue, and a board to make a picture. Which of the following techniques should the learner use to make the picture? So here we are talking about the use of different media or different materials to come up with a composition. So that technique where we use different type of materials to come up with a composition, we call it collage. Question 8. Which of the following is not a role played by instrument in a Kenyan folk dance? Role played by instrument in a Kenyan folk dance. We have The instrument will accompany the performance. It will play interludes. It will also play the melodies. But when we talk about decorating performance, that is the function of the costumes. That is the function of the costumes or ornaments that do that work of decorating the performance. So the correct answer was B, part B. Number 9, grade 6 learners were making improvised skipping ropes during a lesson. Which of the following actions should the learners take after the lesson to conserve the environment? After the lesson, remember, before the lessons, the first action that the learner usually do is to assemble the material. And after the after the practical, the last step that the learner are supposed to do is to clean the area where they were using or working from. So here, this question is about which of the following actions should the learners take after the lesson to conserve the environment? So here we are talking about learners have to clean up the area and dispose of any leftover materials. There they will be taking care of the environment. Question 10. The role of color in an ornament is to, so it's making it beautiful. And other roles, they are here. It makes them attractive and visually appealing. It also enhances beauty, as we have said. It expresses culture. It also conveys emotions or meaning. It creates contrast and emphasis. And lastly, it adds value. So the correct answer was B. It makes it beautiful. Question 11. Juma sang a song with the phrase Kenya nchi yangu naipenda daima. So what type of song did Juma sing? So here we're talking about type of songs. And we have folk song. A folk song is a song that its origin is from a certain community, and most of the time you will find that they are they are usually in the original language of that community. Then topical song, we talk about a topical song. It's a song that is it's touching on a certain issue in the community. You can talk about early marriage. So early marriage becomes the topic. So that's a topical song. Religious songs, these are songs that touch on God. They touch on praising God, giving God praises, thanking God. And then we have patriotic song. A patriotic song is a song that is sung to praise someone or a country you are praising. So the correct answer was B, patriotic song. Question 12. The following picture shows a high jump technique. So high jump is an area that is taught in grade 6. We have high jump and we have long jump. So in high jump, the technique that the learners are taught in grade 6, apart from the other techniques, is scissor technique. But also we have the straddle style, we have one leg style, we have vaulting. So vaulting style is usually in a triple jump. So here the correct answer was scissor style, which is scissor technique in high jump that is covered in grade 6. Then in long jump we talk about sail technique. So question 13. How can the value of a color be made lighter when painting using wash technique? So wash technique is an area in grade 5. So here we can make the color or the value of the color lighter by using thin paint with water. We use thin paint with water. Other ways we can use is adding more clean water to the paint to dilute it. You can also use less paint and more water when mixing, or you can apply a thin transparent layer, that is light wash, instead of a thick dark wash. So that's how you can make the value of a color light. So the correct answer was C, thin the paint with water. Question 14. Tempo in music refers to the tempo. So tempo in music is the fastness or slowness of music. Fastness or slowness of music. So the correct answer was A. When you talk about highness or lowness of sound, that is pitch. Pitch is the highness or lowness of sound. Then we have loudness or softness of sound, that is dynamics. Loudness or softness of sound, dynamics. Then when you talk about simultaneous sounding of notes, that is harmony. Harmony, simultaneous sounding of notes. Question 15. During a class discussion, uh, 4 learners gave the following description of the sail technique in long jump. I have talked about it. Which learner gave the correct description? So here we talk about sail technique. Uh, It's cycling of arms and legs while in flight phase of long jump. And I usually tell my learners when you talk about sail technique, you take an example that of a person who is in a boat in a sea riding the boat. So the moment that person is riding the boat using the hands, anapiga maji ikienda nyuma yake, so that is the sailing technique. Question 16. Which of the following statement is not true about indigenous Kenyan craft? Is not true. So you find that uh, 3 of the statements are positive and 1 of the statement is negative about the Kenyan indigenous craft. So we want to pick that the one which is negative. So here, are source of income. Yes, these crafts are sold and people earn income. Represent different cultures. Yes, that's why we say it is indigenous. So indigenous from different part of the country, different communities. Causes difference in the society. No, it doesn't cause difference. It brings people together. It unifies the country. Then are used for decoration. Yes, they are used for decoration. So the correct answer was C. It doesn't cause difference, but it brings people together. Question 17. Which French rhythm names correspond with the following rhythm patterns? So here we have that the first note is a minim, we have grouped quivers, we have crochet and crochet. So we have ta, tate, ta, ta. So the correct answer was B, part B. Grade number 18. 4 members of a discussion group gave various statements about crab balance in gymnastics. Which member gave the correct answer? When you talk about crab balance, it is a gymnastic balance in which the performer supports the body on both hands and feet with stomach facing upwards. So the stomach is facing upwards, the back is facing downwards, and hips raised off the floor. So from my explanation there, you'll find that the correct answer was D. The performer is supported by both hands and feet. Question 19. Which of the following is a safety measure that should be observed when handling die? Remember in grade 5 we talk about die and tie, or tie and die technique. So when learners are handling die, which are some of the safety measures they are supposed to observe? So here, uh, they are supposed to work in an open space. They work in an open space. Question 20. Which of the following is not a way of tuning Kenyan indigenous string instruments? So you find that indigenous instruments, we don't adjust the position of the bridge. The position of the bridge has just to remain where it is, but we tighten and loosen the knobs, we tighten and loosen the laces, and we tighten and loosen the pegs, but the bridge remains where it is. Question 21. Learners watched a video of a gymnast performing a side roll technique. Which part of the body touched the ground during performance? So that is side roll. So we talk about the side of your body. We have 2 shoulders. So one of the shoulder, depending on the side, is it left or right, you are using, will touch the ground first. So we talk about the shoulder. Question 22, the purpose of a theater in a puppet shows is to. So when we talk about theater, we're talking about an area where performance is done from, an area where the performance is done from. So we find that it creates scenery, the place. Question 23, which letter names represented by the following fingering of a descant recorder? So we talk about it's E, C, and G. It's E, C, and G. The correct answer is B. The correct, no, not B. The correct answer is B. Correct answer is B. But this question had a lot of problem when you try to check on it. Question 24. There are various equipment used in a game of volleyball. Which of the following equipment is matched with its correct use? So net to keep spectators away. No. What keeps the spectators away is the sidelines and the end line. The sidelines and the end lines will keep the spectators away from the court. Whistle to start and stop the game. That is correct. Whistle is used to start or stop the game. Antenna to show where the service takes place. No, it's the service zone that shows where the service will take place from. The ball to determine the period of play. No, the ball doesn't determine, it's used to play the game. Question 25. Why is focus an important element in photography? So we talk about the elements of photography. So focus, it makes the image appear sharp. Makes the images appear sharp. Question 26. Which of the following sounds does not maintain a steady beat sound? So we have the sound of a clock. We usually hear ta, 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 ta. So that one, it maintains a steady beat. Then we have ambulance. When we talk about ambulance, the ambulance siren, the sound continuously raises and falls in pitch and does not maintain a steady beat. But a posher mill and a crowing cock, those one maintain a steady speed. Question 27. During a game of rounders, during a game of rounders, John was eliminated from the game while running from one base to the other. John was eliminated because so the game of rounder, it has some rules that you are supposed to follow for you to score or not to concede a score. So here he was eliminated when running around the base, from one base to the other. So you find that he was eliminated maybe because he had not reached the base where he was running to. So there it means that he was tagged with a ball. You are supposed to be tagged with that ball before you are eliminated. Then question number 28. Alana wants to make a meter joint using the following pieces of wood. So we have here the two pieces of wood. So the question is, which two materials should the learner use to make the joint strong? So here we're talking about materials that are going to make this joint strong so that it will not maybe break. Let's talk about glue and nails. Question 29. Which of the following elements of music is not correctly matched with the given description? So we talk about dynamics. So here the correct answer was texture. Dynamics, we have said it's loud and soft. Then melody, it's about pitch and rhythm. Form, it's an order and arrangement. When we talk about texture is how many sounds or voices are heard in a piece of music at the same time, and it is not the pulse and speed. So the correct answer was D. Question 30, the last one. Your team has been advised to observe safety measures when playing a volleyball match to avoid injuries. Which of the following is a safety measure that the team should observe? So safety measures when playing, remember it's about when playing a volleyball match. So when playing the volleyball match, you have to ensure that the playing field is flat and free from objects that may end up harming the player. So the correct answer was C. So that marks the end of this revision session. If you have any question, let me know through the comment section, or you have an area that you like us to touch on in our next session, let me also know. Thank you, and remember to subscribe, share, and like, and also remember to comment. Thank you, and may God bless you. See you in our next session.